What up, folks? It's game time. It's Thirsty Thursday. Apparently, that's not a thing anymore, Manny. That means
Oh,
something different.
we're old.
Apparently, not when we grew up. We are old. We're called midlife crisis for a reason.
Ooh, yeah,
Uh,
thirsty used to just be thirsty,
yeah.
but now it's
Just
a different thing.
do you want some? You want some beer? How's
Yeah.
everybody doing? Shit, man. We're early and we already got over 20 viewers. We're just gonna keep on going. Look at all the
What?
OGs.
These
Anthony's
OG.
here. AI, thanks for the Prime sub. Thanks for all the new
Yes, thank you so
subs.
much.
Celos, dude, you know what happened to Celos today, Manny?
Tell me,
He
I'm
made
ready.
Crunch Crew today because he is here ready to go
Oh,
day in, day out.
Crunch
Mingo,
Crew.
Meta Sculptor, God, AI, dude, we love everybody here. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah,
Maddie, how is
absolutely.
your day been going?
Oh my gosh, man. My day, super busy day, but I am ready to relax. See, this is old school Thirsty Thursday. Now I'm doing this is sparkling water, so nothing no
Oh.
icy, nothing crazy, but it's the lemon flavor, so there's a little zest. But no, busy day. I'm actually happy to be sitting here talking to you guys. This is gonna be a great stream. So yeah, man, I'm doing great, man. How you doing, Mike?
I'm doing fantastic. I thought for sure you were going to pull up a glass of Captain Morgan, and I was going to
No.
be like, we are starting off on the right foot
I
here,
am
bro.
I am fresh out of Captain Morgan. If I had it, I might just based on your mentioning it, I might bring it out. But no, I'm out of Captain Morgan today, so no Captain today.
We'll do that next time we hang out. So, real quick, typical stream today. We're going to be having an awesome conversation. Chef and team were generous enough to give us some pre-sale spots to give away during the stream. So you will see that lovely automated Twitch bot that will be saying !enter to submit your tickets into the pre-sale raffle. We appreciate you all, so we love giving back to our community. We wouldn't be here without you. And new thing that we've been doing, and we're going to keep on doing this just to hammer into everybody why MLC is about, why we're here, why we're doing it. Because we, honestly, to begin with, got a little fed up with the corporate BS. You know, a lot of people have dealt with that. So fortunately enough, as we've grown in the NFT space, we've been able to pick up a really cool core group of people, and we all kind of believe in the same thing. And we have a mission statement that we've all crafted up, and it's really centering around this, you know, genuine human connection. We think it's a lost art. We all believe in it, and we're really excited to actually bring that to the NFT space. And we do that by having honest conversations like we're having today with our man, Chef, and all of the other awesome projects that we've had on here. And then in addition to that, we think all of that culminates in we have the opportunity to build one of the first genuine media companies in the NFT space. So we're super, super, super excited to be here, and we're just going to keep on sending the positive vibes and making it happen, peeps. So before I give a chance for Chef to say hello to the audience, got a couple tidbits about this amazing human being. One, he was a semi-pro Counter-Strike player, FPS extraordinaire. But what's interesting about that is he's bringing that hyper focus to the NFT world in his project. But one of the most amazing things that I've heard, probably of any founder that we've had on here, and we've had some pretty crazy projects, Chef decided, you know, just getting into NFTs, he'd buy 34 CryptoPunks as his first NFT purchase. We're going to have a conversation about that. 34 CryptoPunks.
Yeah.
Could you
Let that marinate
imagine?
for a second,
Could
dude.
you imagine if that was your first buy? Holy
Get
shit, man.
out here. You
And
know,
with
everybody else, we dipped our toes in. We were like, you know what I mean? And he was like, 34 CryptoPunks. What could go wrong? And that's a heck of a start.
dude, well, Chef, the chat's already reacting with a bunch of WTFs. How you doing today, man? So glad to have you.
I'm great to be here, Mikey, Matt. Appreciate you. Thanks very much. Everyone who's tuned in and listening, great to see you. And yeah, looking forward to this chat.
Awesome. Thanks, man. So, Seiko's Tech Spot. Good to see you, buddy. I haven't seen you in a while. So yeah, we're super pumped that you're here too. And like we talked about a little bit before, our first question, always ask it, and then we kind of roll with the punches from there. But how did you get to the seat you're sitting in today? Feel free to start us off when you were a baby in the crib, high school, college, wherever you want to go, man. Take us there, and we'll join the journey.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting one. I'll probably take you down memory lane a little bit, and because it does, I feel, impact as sort of what made me here, made me the person I am today, and brought me to where I am today, running Gino's Big Time Chef. So I think we'll just start sort of in high school in the UK, which is sort of after our secondary school, right, just before our college. I was quite a gifted student when I first got into there, right? I was someone who done quite well at school, really good at exams, coursework as well. And when I joined our high school of around about 200 people, I was actually ranked like top 5, like predicted to get these top grades, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I sort of fell as I was moving through the years. I sort of fell away, right? I was just sort of falling down this ladder, not performing too well, and by the time I'd finished and done my exams, man, I was just some bog standard average guy. I knew I had the ability. I knew it was there, but I was just for some reason I was just really struggling. And if I fast forward, this was only recently. This was about 6 months ago. Right? I was the human part of me, right? I was actually diagnosed with ADHD, and it sort of makes a lot of sense now, right? I felt sort of coursework was extremely hard to do, but I loved the exams, the high pressure environments. I mean, you touched on Counter-Strike, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's this clutch moment, like 1 on 4, and it's these sorts of things that I live for. So yeah, that's sort of when you are able to focus on a specific subject or business, right? You do have, it feels like this this moment where you've just sort of found yourself, and that's what I found myself within crypto. My first venture into crypto professionally was 8 years ago. So I bought a bit of Bitcoin. I sold it on a marketplace, a peer-to-peer marketplace, and realized that you could make a little bit of a markup, right, 1 or 2%, and that's all got me thinking, right? I was thinking, if I had a bit more Bitcoin, like, if I could turn it over this Bitcoin, this 2%, this 3% profit enough times, you can imagine how big that could grow, right? Much like a snowball rolling down the mountain, right? It does make you think that. So that was sort of my obsession 8 years ago. Within about 2 years, I created the largest cryptocurrency brokerage here in the UK. I roll a chef. I'm trying to be careful not to give away too much, but that was sort of my 2 or 3 years. I managed to do that. Decided to start my second business, which was actually a crypto exchange. So we were running those 2 businesses in parallel. And then, it looked super interesting, man. I had these 2 crypto businesses running side by side, the same team running, about 20 members of staff at that point in time. Decided to go for a token raise. So went on to the next thing. It's sort of ICO. We joined an accelerator here in the UK, which is Web3 focused. And then, look, more recently into Big Time Chef and NFTs. I mean, you mentioned it earlier, right? 34 CryptoPunks was my first purchase, and I think part of my personality, right? I'm either all in or I'm all out. That is all in.
That is all in.
Yeah. It's I mean, the honest truth, right? I had a bunch of Ethereum sitting in my hardware wallet, and it was just sort of sitting there. And at the time, look, gaining value, I was doing really well, but I kept getting told by this. There's an influencer and an art collector, a guy called 33 NFT. I don't know if you've heard of him. He's I'm not so deep in the art world of NFTs. I'm more about profile pictures and games and that sort of collections. But he's quite a big name in there. And I've known him personally for a long time. And he's like, look, Chef, you need to get yourself in the NFT space. Like, this is the future, right? You got to get yourself in. And week after week, he'd keep telling me, and I'm in an R in, and then CryptoPunks, I think they dropped to about 13 or 14 ETH at the time. And just one, like I remember the moment so clearly. I was having dinner with my partner, and just thought, right, I'm just going to go for it. Whatever I have in this Ethereum wallet, I'm just going to spend the whole lot on CryptoPunks until it tells me I've got no money left. And that was it. And that's how I got into the NFTs. But yeah,
That's crazy. And what?
Wow.
So was this when it was still? I mean, were they insanely expensive still, or?
No, he said they were 13, 14 ETH.
Oh! You said. Oh, sorry, I misheard that. Holy shit!
no worries. So it was about $1 million. Yeah, it was about $1 million at the time.
Oh my lord!
The bit that actually killed me, and I mean, it doesn't feel as bad now, and but at the time, right? So I was holding on to it for about 2 or 3 months. It was quite stagnant, right? Not much happening in the space, and then I don't know if you guys remember the CryptoPunk pump. There was this steady increase of price on CryptoPunks, right? And after holding on to it for so long, when it got to about 26 ETH on average, right? So double what I put in, and it got there so quick. So I'm thinking I've held on to this for about 3 months. In the space of about 2 days, it's doubled. So I thought, like my personality, look, all in or all out. So I cashed the whole lot out at like 26 ETH. I doubled my money, but the next day it kept going and it kept going and it kept going. Within another 5 days, it was up to about 100 ETH. And all I could think about was not the profit that I'd made, but more about the money that I missed out on from selling too early. So that was the look, we live in this crazy world of NFTs, man. It's like you often just got to take a step back and look at yourself from a third person view and just sort of appreciate and just the position we have ourselves now, right? We're so lucky to be where we are today. So as much as it pains me to feel like I could have just held on for a bit longer, I've of course got to be super, super grateful for being able to get in and get out and make some money. So at the time it didn't feel like that, but I just knew that it's just time's a healer, right? And we'll get there.
Right. No, that's awesome, dude. What a great story. But I kind of want to start back in the beginning because I think you made a couple interesting points, and one that I think we like to talk about, and like we were talking about in the beginning, we like to really just give information to the community in a neutral way and have them make good decisions. And one of the things that we like to talk outside the NFTs is like how to be successful, right? And that story is really interesting to me, where on paper you're told you're going to do these great things in academia, right? And then you go through it and you're like, this might not be for me. What was there a moment in time or just a realization that you had that like it's okay that I'm not going to be great at what I was told I was going to be great at, and figuring that out? And like I think what I'm getting at is finding that self-awareness. Do you remember a moment in time where you're like, it's okay, I know I'm good at X, Y, and Z, and I'm just going to double down on that?
Yeah, it's interesting. That moment only came recently, if I'm being completely honest with you. I think the thing that actually drove me to succeed was that very thing, right? Of not achieving, not realizing my true potential at school. And it was sort of like, I've got a point to prove, right? I know that I didn't do too well and people just think I'm some sort of average kid, but I know like I have the ability. And I mean, a lot of my friends knew school's not for me, right? Some people are really good at academia, some people aren't, right? But when often there are a lot of skills that aren't taught in schools that can be applied in real world, like business scenarios, right? Logic and critical thinking and strategy, right? You don't get taught that, right?
Right.
And I would honestly put that down to a lot of, again, I mean, it sounds stupid, right? But like Counter-Strike, it's like there was so many of these like high pressure moments where like you got to decide, like, do you plant the bomb? Do you fake plant the bomb? Do you just hide? Do you like fake shot to try and fake the guy who's like trying to defuse? There's like these. It's so strategic and high pressure because it's the matter of winning the match or losing the match, and there's like hundreds of eyes on you right at that time watching you. And it was only more recently where I sort of felt I've reached a point, I guess, in my career where I've sort of ticked that box, right? I think I've sort of proven to myself and other people that I have achieved what I can achieve. And yeah, it's funny you say that because it was only a few months when I sort of had that realization, to be honest.
And to follow that up though, is it so awesome story. I love this. This is a great conversation already. It was the realization for you like, oh, I've kind of proven myself, or was it more of an inner peace?
What I started to realize, right, was when people said to me, I think when you're up and coming, right, you start this
Mm-hmm.
business from nothing, right, and you're starting to make waves in whichever direction you get, and people start to take notice. They start to say, "You're doing so well. What a great job!" And I like lapped that up, right? That was what I was after. That meant everything to me, right? These people telling you that you're doing such a great job, and it was that pat on the back that maybe I didn't get back when I was at school. But then as you keep going and people keep telling you, you become quite desensitized to that. And I felt the reason for that is just because I've become more comfortable with myself in realizing that I have done it. I have achieved what I needed to do. So, yeah, it was that very thing that I was after, right? That recognition from others to say how good a job you've done. But honestly, now I feel like quite numb to it, as cold as it may sound. Like when people say how a great job you've done and stuff like that, it doesn't feel like anything to me anymore. And back then it meant everything. So it's when you talk about peace, it does feel like peace. It feels like I can stop trying to prove to others like what I could be, because I've accomplished what I needed to really prove to myself what I could be.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
and
battle's with yourself, right? You got to
yeah,
prove it's always how can I be better than myself? Because once comparing yourself to others is never going to be fruitful. Although we do live in a society where that is programmed into us, right? And like you said, school is a perfect example of that, right? The first thing you do when they show out everybody's grades on a test, it's comparing you against your classmates. But that being said, we can acknowledge that school is designed to produce employees and workers because that's a majority of the workplace, right? You were dissatisfied for that because critical thinking, leadership, people skills, things like that are things that leaders need. But there's only, remember, there's one CEO. There's a lot of people that work under, and so it's a different mindset. And I think part of that delta in your mind was that you knew you belonged somewhere else, and the schools aren't meant to prepare you for that. And so I think that's interesting.
yeah. And
Com-
the
com-
Go ahead.
Go on, Mikey. Sorry.
No. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to look. I want to completely agree with that. And look, I actually go back to my old school because I feel like again, like to take a step back and to realize that the position you're in and potentially the influence you can have on others, right? I think it's a waste not to try and inspire others. So it's something that I regularly do. I go back to my old school, and I know the feeling, right? I've often had, back when I was sort of climbing the career ladder, right, I was just hell bent on like becoming the best I could be at the time before I sort of pivoted to business. But this offhand comment, right, this little thing that it doesn't even mean anything to someone that they said, right, just a slip of the tongue and something that really sticks. I had many moments like that where they probably forgot they even said it like 2 minutes later, but something like just this specific statement, it really stuck with me, and it really like led me down a path to work harder and to be more motivated. So I feel, knowing that sort of effect that it had on me, I feel it's only right to try and be able to inspire others, especially from where I am at my school, and to try and get them to potentially, like, there might be a sentence that really resonates with them that they take home that really changes the direction that their future is in a positive way. So and I feel, yeah, everyone who is lucky enough to be in the positions that we are today, when we can have that positive influence, to try their best to do so.
Dude, that you
Yep.
it's like you're speaking my mind, and I'll let Matt ask his question. Like the reason why I went down this path is everybody goes through adversity, right? And I went through some adversity probably like 3 or 4 years ago. And I was interested to hear your response to that answer because I went through a similar thing of just like there's this self clarity, right? And you're not trying to fit the mold of anyone that you're or you think you're supposed to be. And then when you have that, for me specifically, it was very clear to me what I was good at, what I wanted to do, where I wanted to spend my time and prioritize. And that it's even more poignant with what you just said, because my thought was, if I can be myself and impact one life to think differently or do something different, then like I've accomplished my goal. And that's why I really do what I do, is because, and it's already happened, right? I've been like, I feel like we haven't even started, and we get comments all the time of like, you know, thanks so much for helping me out, or saying this one thing that I don't even remember saying, right? But that really impacted their lives. And it's cool to know that you've gone down a different path but come to the same conclusion. It's super cool to hear.
Yeah, and I guess to sort of just take that one step further. When I think about that now and what you guys are doing, which is absolutely amazing, right? It may have been, as you're growing up and you're aging, right, and maybe you're young and naive, right? The reason you're looking for, or the reason some of the reasons that you're trying to get into business or do what you do is quite selfish, right?
Yeah.
It's all about me. I want to be the best. I want everyone to say how great I am. But I feel like maybe you've had that moment where it becomes, it's not about being selfish, it's been about selfless. It's about helping others, right? And that's where the happiness and the real value comes from, right? It's around that, being able to touch other people's hearts and being able to influence them in a positive way. And it's amazing to hear that you guys are doing that already, because I'm of the exact same feeling, right? Nothing means more to me than to be told that, look, something that you've said has really impacted someone's life in a positive way. And look, super happy for you guys, and I'm sure you'll continue growing on the trajectory you're going. I'm super happy for you.
Wow, man, I appreciate it. That's awesome. Maddie, any other thoughts on that conversation?
Yeah, I mean, a couple things. I mean, first of all, there's a lot to unpackage. However, in terms of just overall thinking, you know, these revelations that people have in life are a big deal, right? And when you realize that the battle's with yourself, not with the world, things change. There's a clarity that comes with that. And they say, you found what you're put on earth to do when it's easy for you and amazing to everyone else. And it's neat when you get in that realm and you start feeling that, because when it's amazing, like you said, it becomes a benefit to the world rather than a benefit to you. And let me ask you this. You've been in crypto now for 8 years. You've obviously have a tremendous amount of experience, especially comparatively, right, to most people in the NFT space. Do you feel like you are hitting your stride in an area do you feel like you're where you're supposed to be?
I do. I mean, it's a funny situation. I never when I set across this journey 8 years ago, even like the whole way through, look, I was never intending to be a CEO, right? It's never this lifelong ambition of me to be a person who runs a company. It's just I happen to love thinking outside of the box and strategy and critical thinking and competitiveness, and it sort of felt like a game to me, right? This overthrow the juggernauts in the space, and like it's like me against the world type mentality. And I sort of thrived on that at the beginning, but I don't know where. I feel like all I want to do at the minute is just do stuff that I enjoy, right? I feel like the money can be a byproduct of that, and for as long as I will be a leader, I will lead by example. I don't lead by fear. I lead just by knowing my shit and working hard and having this inquisitive nature of wanting to understand why people do stuff in NFTs, for example, in what I'm doing now. But in terms of like where I want to be or where I feel the natural end is, I don't know. Like some days I wake up in the morning and I feel like I want to take over the world and create $1 billion business. Sometimes I feel like I just want to go in and just chill for a bit and have a good day.
Yeah.
It's take each day as it comes at the minute, if I'm being honest.
Play some Counter-Strike, right?
To be clear, I'm not saying have you arrived. I'm not saying you've hit your destination, right? Because you could put forth like we never actually hit our destination, right? There's a journey. But what I mean is, do you feel like you're where you're supposed to be on that journey, on your path?
Yeah, there's no doubt, man. I'm super happy and grateful. I feel like, I mean, as cliche as it sounds, I feel like one day I'm just going to wake up. Like I'm looking at the house that I'm in today, and it's just like I never could have imagined I'm in such a nice house 5, 6, 7 years ago, right? It's just it's insane. But I do feel I deserve to be here, right? I've worked my arse off to get here, right? I've got the
Yeah.
competency, I've got the aptitude to be here, and I've
Right.
applied myself in such a way. I mean, business is brutal, man. You know what I mean?
It is.
Like,
Oh,
and
Yep.
I mean, look, I may sound a bit cutthroat and ruthless, but I mean, I often hear people, I guess sometimes they get down on themselves and use statistics to say, hey, look, 90% of businesses, they fail in the first year, and all these statistics. But I'm so like I'm so hard on myself. If I said that to myself, I think it's just a cop out, right? I'm just using that as a scapegoat. The only
right.
thing that caused the business to fail is myself. Like, I've just made wrong
Yep.
decisions. There's
Yeah.
always a route to success. There's always to do it. For me, it's like, if the route to success, you can get to the route to success if you're good enough, regardless of the situation you're in. But if people like to use that as a scapegoat, then sort of by all means. But for me, like, my mentality is, I am in control of my own destiny, and I can make this business a success or a failure if I'm lazy and not doing what I need to do. But
I love
up
it.
to this date, look, I've worked my ass off and to get here, and I rightly deserve to be here, in my opinion.
I love it. That's such a refreshing, good mindset. I will. What do you think about a spin on the comment that you just said too? Because I do think, I personally believe there are moments where failure's probably inevitable, and as much as you can beat your head against the wall as much as you want, you might not be able to change it, but moving forward, learning from that and taking the right pieces away from that helps you succeed in the future. What are your thoughts about that?
It's funny, right? If it was me talking to myself, I would say something completely different than if I was advising or mentoring someone
Right.
else, right?
Right.
If it's a member of my team or someone else, I'd say to them, look, it's not that it's not a problem that you made a mistake. It's only a problem if you haven't learned from the mistake, right?
Right.
And that's the sort of
Right.
mentality and that's, look, it still rings true with me. But
Mhm.
when it's me talking to myself, I have a much harsher line, right? I'm like, you shouldn't have made the mistake in the first place. You've been lazy, like, you've been incompetent, like, you haven't paid the right attention to detail. And I'll give you sort of the way my mind works, right? So when we raised a bunch of money, and we have to build this pitch deck, and you have to pitch it to 50, 100, 150 VCs. And the way I approach pitch decks is, like, I do not want a single question that they can throw that my way that I should be able to answer, but I don't know the answer for.
Mm-hmm.
Because if that happens, I haven't done a good enough job, right? I need to know every single angle that potentially that they could take the questioning down and have a counter and a response to do that. And if they have and if I have that response, what could be the counter to that, and what's my counter to that? A bit like chess, right? If I'm going to play this move, I'm going to predict that he may do this or this move, and that's my counter to that. And that's the way I approach things. And anything less than that, then I've been too lazy and haven't paid enough attention to detail. And that's sort of how I think and how I approach work and business.
No, it's brilliant. Yeah, and it really comes down to its preparation, right? If you're going to defend a thesis or something like that, you have to anticipate moves, right? You have to be several moves ahead of your opponent. And like you said, you have to think about, well, what are they going to play? If I do this, what possible moves are left? And I think that's well, you went back to it, right? Some of these skills that are being missed because, people are learning kind of the basic liberal arts education, and I'm not knocking that, but there are some skills, some life skills, like being able to discern those type of things that you have to understand to be successful. And really, I love what you said, right? When you think, I did the same thing when I started businesses, which is, of course you hear the stats, like 9 out of 10 are going to fail. My mind goes to, well, that's average people, and I'm not
Mm-hmm.
average. So, I just don't apply it to myself. And I do the same thing. I put a much stricter standard on myself. But ultimately, it comes down to, well, how many of those people prepared? I mean, look, the average person that goes to the beach gets sunburned, and it's not because they didn't know to put sunscreen on. They just didn't, right? And whose fault is
Mm-hmm.
that? It's nobody's fault but their own, right? And so it's kind of the same thing. Like, we approach life in that same way. You just have to make a plan and move forward with it, and be willing to call audibles as see fit.
Mm-hmm. It's exactly it's the pivot and move and think.
Mhm.
It's a combination of so many things. I mean, in my opinion, it doesn't. It would be a huge, general comment if I was to say that some of the best performers at school can't create the best businesses, because obviously there are loads of people who've done really well at school and university and stuff and create great businesses.
Yeah.
But I feel like more often than not, the people who have started with nothing and created a business which has gone on to be very successful have learned to take a lot of risk. And I don't think what schools do is sort of incentivize you to take calculated risks. I think like they try to set you down this route of going to school and then going to university, going to college, going to university, getting your degree, getting a good job, and just climbing the career ladder. Very standard. And it's not. Yeah, and it's good for people like us, right? People like us running businesses love that, because they're the people that come work for us. They're the people that don't want to take the risks. They want the
bees. Yep.
Exactly. They want the monthly income, and that's great, man. I like people who like that security and just work for me, because then there's less competition on my level, right? If there's less competition on my level, less people to fight with, there's more money for me to take. So from a purely commercial viewpoint, I do like that. But I just think that's the difference, right? I feel like I just have this nature of liking to take risks, calculated risks, not stupid risks, but often people would prefer not to take any risk. And that's just not me, I guess.
Right. And how about this thought to layer on this? Because this is one thing that I've gotten comfortable with, because I think along with that mentality, another outcome of that is I work so hard to get to that, like, I feel like there's this fairy tale moment in everybody's mind, and it differs, right? But mine is like a craft beer on the beach, and I get there, and then that is it, right? And you're like, oh, I did all this hard work for that. But now, with the mindset I have of like trying to impact lives and being completely self-aware of who I am and what I'm good at and what I'm not good at, that image scares me, because I want that, but temporary, because I know I'll get bored if I'm just stuck there. Like the learning, the pursuing, the growing, the changing, that excites me, Does that resonate with you?
Definitely. I had the same like sort of feeling and dream, right? That one day I'm going to be on the beach in Hawaii, on looking at the sunset with a cocktail in my hand, and sort of just think like, wow, like how well I've done. But I'm relaxed and retired. But it's just a moment. Like that moment will come and go, and it's like, what comes after that? And I think the difficulty I will have is, at my core, I will always be pulled and attracted to this type of risky business taking and competition, right? I don't know at this moment in time, like the age I am, I don't know if that point will ever come where my partner will say, hey, let's go on holiday and just relax for a month and think of all the great things that you've done and just take a break from work. Like I can't see that yet. I feel like it will come with age. But at the minute, like while I'm fit and healthy and young, like, I just want to steamroll and continue and carry on doing what I'm doing. So I do believe there will be a moment in time, but it's nowhere near where I am at the minute that it's going to happen.
Now, do you ever, because it's funny because you guys said that, and Mike, what I think of is I'm at a point now where my vision when I think of it is I want to get as many people as I can to their craft beer on the beach. Do you know what I'm saying? I want to build something with a team of people, and I know that if I can get them on those beaches, because as we said, right, there are employees and we need them, and there are, again, we can't live in a world where everybody is a chief, right? There's chiefs and there's Indians, right? And so it's like, how many people who do put in the grind, put in the work because that's what they enjoy, right? They want to have a salary, they want to have that, they're very risk adverse. How do I reward them and get them on that beach as fast as possible? Because I know if I do that enough times, I'll be able to do whatever I want. You know what I'm saying? And that's I think there's something about that. Like you said, it becomes altruistic, right? Where we stop thinking about getting ourselves on the beach and how do we help other people? Because again, once that occurs, then the options for us are essentially whatever we want. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's difficult for me because it depends on the situation, right? When I'm at work, I have this working mindset, right? I'm all about numbers and logic and what makes the best decisions financially and commercially to make the business the most success. And often not. Like, I mean, you talk about people working for you. If that person wasn't working for you and it was just someone outside, right, I would give them completely different advice, like on what to do with a career, because it would be a pure conflict of interest. If they're actually working for me, the type of advice I would give them if they're working for me would 100% be completely different if they weren't working for me. So the type of person that I am when I see someone at my school, right, when I'm giving types of advices is very much like you said, right? I do want to see them in the get the, to the hot seat. I do want them to run their own businesses. I do want them to make a load of money. But then again, if I compare that to, I guess, if logically speaking, right? If I pay my workers way too much money, they'll probably end up leaving, or they just get bored of the job because it's too easy, right? And maybe that, if you again, like, some people, they need their life's ambitions and dreams is to earn 150K a year, and the minute you start paying that, they may take the foot off the pedal and not start working. They'll start working as hard for you as they did when they were earning 50K, right? So it depends for me. It depends on the situation. I know at my heart, at my core, I am very altruistic. Like, I do want to help others. But when it's regards to my own business, it's a different story.
Yeah. No, and that makes sense. I think it's an interesting, because we are talking about ideals now and perfect worlds, and the reality is the world's not perfect, right? And it's balancing it, and that's actually what I wanted to get back to. Is we were talking about this kind of end game, and you made a really interesting comment that I latched onto, which was, I see myself on the beach, not there forever, but I want to appreciate that time, right? And one of the things that I find myself in a hard situation with balancing family and life, and constantly wanting to like build this thing that we have in the NFT world, right? Because it's so exciting, is really grounding myself in moments and not being distracted by my just thoughts that are constantly racing because I want to go. Do you think that's something you struggle with? And if not, what is your big struggle on being successful? If that sounds right.
I significantly, severely struggle with being able to have that slow down moment. And people have told me, do meditation, right? Do sort of led meditation and yoga, but my mind races at such a speed that I just cannot sit down and spend the time, right? If I sit down for 20 seconds, my mind's wandered off already. It's so difficult. Like,
For sure.
I can't listen to podcasts, right? Like, I can't listen to podcasts on a train because I pay no attention. My mind is not even on the podcast. I'm already thinking about work, about what the next thing we could do.
Right.
It's like an unhealthy addiction in a way, right? Because it's like, and look, I've had therapy, right? I've spoke to people. It's quite uncommon actually, and I've been told it's much more common in the US than it is here in the UK. But I've been told, like, the way I treat work is a bit like a drug. It feels like you're addicted. When I don't have it, I feel rotten. I just feel like I'm like withdrawing from something, and then suddenly when I go back to work for a day or two, I'm like back on it again. I'm feeling great, like I've just taken my next hit.
Right.
But yeah, sorry, you go.
No, I'm just agreeing with you.
Keep going.
Yeah, I'm just saying, right.
Yeah, there is a group of people that all have this trait psychologically. There's a group of people, and it's a group you'd probably want to be in. Do you know what group of people that is that all have this trait?
I don't actually.
Billionaires. Billionaires. No, and I'm not kidding, right? Because here's the thing, right? Mathematically, you're an analytical guy. You do realize that at about $400 million, there's really nothing you can't do at that point, right? There's nothing monetarily, unless you want to buy a country, you know what I mean? There's nothing left. So why do people do it? What's the benefit of Elon Musk having $300 billion? There is none, right? And so in terms of, like, there's nothing he can't do at that point that money would provide. He doesn't need to get $301 billion for any reason. So why is it? And it's interesting because when they study people who are billionaires, this is throughout history, by the way, it's because it's for them, it's not about some goal of hitting a certain amount of wealth, right? It's that they are consumed, just like you said, they do not know how to turn off the addiction of just moving forward, growing, building whatever it is they're interested in. They have to just keep going. Their brain can never go at rest, and they'll do it usually their entire life. It's just a very interesting thing. But I don't, take that for what you will, but I think it's kind of a good group of people to be in. So I wouldn't say it's that bad of a thing.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, right? And although I talk like, if someone said to me like, what if you could pick one thing that would classify your business as being a success, like what is it? And for me, it's
Mhm.
profit. It's nothing more than profit. But the the contradiction to that is that I'm not driven by money. I've never been driven by money. I'm the most
Yeah.
detached person from money that you could ever find, right? I've never run the business to say that I want to be a millionaire, I want to be a billionaire, right? It's just not what drives me. But I know through the excitement of gamifying the business and making sure it's a
Yes.
success and thinking of strategy, the byproduct is the money. And I will get
Mhm.
there. But I never work month for month thinking, oh, how much money can I make? Oh, can I buy a new car? Can I buy a new house? Right? It's just
Right.
I love the thrill. I love the thrill of it.
Yeah, man. You want a high score. That's it. You want to be on the
That's
leaderboard. I
it.
get it. No, I get it, man, for sure. Mike, did you have any more on this, or I had
No,
a
no,
follow up?
no.
So we've talked about your past, and we're going to get to your present. We're going to talk about the project and what's going on. But what I'm curious about is your future. Where do you see this going, right? Where is your North Star? Where are you trying to steer the ship? What's your goal? Where do you see yourself in 5, 10 years? Or I said, where you hope to see yourself in 5, 10 years?
Yeah, I guess I would love to be a part that sort of shape the future of the metaverse and NFTs. I'd love to look back in 5 or 10 years' time and say that company I built or that decision or that person I helped, right, did
Hmm.
steer the whole industry in a direction that I've had some sort of impact on, right? I feel we're very lucky to be at a super early stage. And look, crypto super early, metaverse and then or NFTs even earlier. Like we're even earlier in that space, right? And the position I am, not only by running the business, but by mentoring and advising a bunch of other Web3 projects, it does allow me to be in a position to really make a difference in the future. So, in 5 or 10 years' time, right, I'm hoping that I have created a business of some significance that I could look back at in the history books, and it would be quoted somewhere to say that I played a role in helping do that. But yeah, that's probably it, man. I just like the idea of creating something so cool that people picked it up and started using it, and then it is referenced somewhere for my grandkids to have a look at when I'm 80 and frail, and yeah, I can save that as a PDF on a phone somewhere.
Legacy. Legacy.
I
That's
love,
awesome.
Legacy, yeah, that's it. That's it. Legacy one.
I love it.
That's
I love
good.
it. And so I mean, amazing conversation. But let's kind of pivot to, and I swear we're not delaying getting to your project, but I do.
No, I would speak about this all the time, man. I don't even care if we talk about the project. I'll be completely honest with you.
This is good stuff, man. I'm enjoying this. I'm
This is
enjoying this.
such a great convo. I do want to get to the NFT journey though, that brought you up to the project. So you got a buddy. He convinces you to buy 34 pixelated JPEGs, and you're like, I'm all in. And then, you double your money. And after that, can you just talk about, because I think it's really interesting, all of the people that we've had on our show have had, if this makes sense, very different paths, but the same paths and realizations at the same time. So I'd love you to kind of take us on that journey from buying your CryptoPunks all the way up to, hey, I have an idea to start my own NFT, and let's go all in on that.
Yeah, it was so he definitely played a major part into me making a decision. But at the same time, I actually joined an accelerator here, Web3 accelerator. We got shortlisted from about 600 companies down to 10 to develop an NFT. Well, it was actually like my third pivot, and it wasn't even the first product that we pitched the product to the accelerator. They took us on. Then within about a week, I pivoted to some completely different product. Then the third, and then a week later, I completely pivoted again. But the third one was an NFT play.
Okay.
It was and yeah, we're still building it, but it was a bridge between the centralized finance world of the likes of Coinbase and the Krakens and stuff, and the DeFi world of sort of your OpenSeas, your LooksRare, right? And to create this super slick bridge that can get the best of both worlds, right? You have your deep liquidity and your bunch of NFTs on the decentralized world, but then you got your ease of use and
Right.
easy on ramps on a CeFi, and that was
Yeah.
sort of my play back then. And so I done that because the companies around me were following that same pattern. The founder of the accelerator, when we spoke to him, he's like, "This is the future." I kept hearing it was the future from my 33 NFT friend, and then eventually I just thought, "Fuck it, let's just get in." So I done it, and that just took me down a rabbit hole. I mean, it's you definitely pay a lot more interest to something if you've got a significant amount of money invested, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
But I
So
went on. Sorry, you go,
no. You go ahead. You went on.
I went on. I had a bit of a. It went NFT to NFT, and again, it's. I was doing it because I wanted. I mean, maybe this is some sort of segue to Big Time Chef, but the reason I bought. So I've got 3 Bored Apes. The reason I bought a Bored Ape was because I was thinking strategically about Big Town Chef, right? How could I get into these communities and in such a way that it didn't feel like I was far, but I was part of the gang, right? Part of the community. And I thought there's no better way than just buying one of the things themselves. So I did buy my first Bored Ape. It was like this Russian type helmet thing. And then I thought, that's got absolutely nothing to do with Big Time Chef. So I went back again and thought, I need to find something food related, and went back to the Sushi Chef headband, and that's the one you see today on the Twitter and the Discord.
Nice.
It was what I found is just this amazing pool of talent in Web3 and Discord. It's something I just never expected, right? We've had amazing. I mean, just to give you an example, right? We've got some of the most amazing community mods in our Discords, and they were just loving NFTs. They've got a pure passion for it, and they're so knowledgeable, right? And what I've realized is that when you have something like NFTs, which naturally bring people together on a specific, I mean, if it's ours, it's cooking, right? It could be loads of different projects. You have this community of people who just love what you're doing, and they want to work for you, and they want to make sure you're a success, and from all walks of life, right? We've got cooks, we've got guys who work in skyscrapers, we've got guys who work on building sites, right? Just from all walks of life, and they all come together, and they're all treated as equal. So that was something I was shocked with when we got down to creating Big Time Chef and the type of buzz and interest in it. But yeah, look, I'm all in NFTs. The more I look into it, the deeper I see it, the more companies. I go back and mentor and advise to the accelerator now after I got invited back. Look, metaverse is the future, NFT is the future. I have zero doubt about that.
Yeah, I mean, I explain it to my friends and family. They're like, I don't understand what you're doing, why you're doing what you're doing. And I think that the easiest way I found to explain to them the importance of the future and what it's going to be, it's like, listen, if Facebook changes their name to Meta, I promise you it's going to be something, because they're a multi-billion-dollar company and they talk to a lot of people around the world.
They have a little bit more invested in this than you might.
Yeah. So I love that explanation. I think I want to go just a little bit broad about that journey. And were there any realizations or takeaways that brought you to Big Town Chef and starting an actual NFT project? Like, why that? Because you've started multiple different companies, right? And they've been in finance and bridging the gap, like you said. Like, why specifically an NFT is what I'm interested in.
Yeah, I mean, at the core of everything I do, and again, it's something I tell everyone, right? I hated school. I used to wake up and I used to feel that feeling of dread. You wake up, you just like over and over and over and over again. And when I finished school, I said to myself, I'm never going to do a job where I wake up and just can't be bothered to get up because it feels horrible, and I can't stand the next 8 hours of working in an office or doing whatever it was. So I always just want to do stuff I love, stuff I enjoy doing, and my personality and my happiness has drawn me towards a world that is fun, right? It's gaming, it's like NFTs, and as much as I created this crypto exchange, right, it doesn't compare to what I'm doing with Big Town Chef. I'm much more naturally suited to a world of gaming and NFTs. It's wacky, it's cool. I can roll a Chef Pierre online and no one cares. It's just, it's everything. It brings me back. I feel like I'm a kid again. It brings me back to that moment. So yeah, this is the reason I've done it. Like there was an opportunity again, like a lot of business owners, you see an opportunity and then I don't wait around when I see an opportunity. When we raised our bunch of capital against our token, it was actually called the cook-off, and this was somewhere down my product roadmap, right at the end, bit of an afterthought, something that I thought, well, look, I've done enough, and I've done quite a few detailed documents on it, but it was something that I would speak to an investor about if they ever asked. But the reality, somewhere hidden away, like on page 12 of a deck in the corner of a page, but as the play and earn and the metaverse world started really heating up, I did pitch it to one of our new hires, which was a product guy, and he's like, "Look, you've got to do it. Like now is the right time." Often, a lot of the time, it's about choosing, like having the right moment, right? It's not waiting for the opportunity to come and sort of dilly and dallying and then deciding whether to go or not. Like when you strike when the iron's hot, when the opportunity is there, you go for it, and that was my thing, right? I thought, right, let's ramp it up. Let's take on the NFT world when it's and metaverse world. It's super exciting. There's a bunch of VC funds who want to invest. This is my opportunity to come into a space where I can work on something really cool and fun and get one of the most famous chefs in the UK to join us on this journey as well. So for me, it was about opportunity, right? I saw it and I took it.
Yeah,
I love it, Maddie.
No, I think that's a great kind of parlay into honestly kind of moving into the project a little bit here and
For sure.
just kind of going into, I guess, tell us the so now we know what got you into wanting your own project now, and specifically this project, obviously. How did this kind of come together? Where did the muse come to do exactly what you're doing? Can you give us kind of an overview of what Big Town Chef's going to be about, and kind of what you see it doing, and how you incorporate what you said you love, which is this gamification, the joy of of NFTs, and how that fits with you, something you enjoy.
Yeah, there's a couple of key factors as to why I wanted to do this. One of them was our token was called burp, as in like drunk too much beer, need to burp, right? So
Yeah.
I wanted something
like
that like I just thought, well, first and foremost, I need to think of something which has some resemblance and reason to be behind the game, right, as a currency. So burp was like, okay, well, cooking and eating, right, just makes sense. So I mean, it's the natural fit for that. So yeah, that and then we wanted, when I think about games, some of the games I used to play, well, even myself, but more recently with one of my daughters, is Overcooked. Is like a super cool. If you've ever played it, it's like you run around the kitchen, you've got to get the ingredients together and serve the customers, and it's such an easy and simple concept, but it's so fun. It's like a party game, something my 5-year-old can pick up and play. So those sort of two worlds collided, right? One where we needed something which fit with burp, number one, right? I didn't want to create something completely unrelated and it made no sense. And the other one was something that I just enjoyed playing, right? And as a product guy, I could look at the features and functionality of a game like Overcooked and think, how could I apply my knowledge in tokenomics and token design with what we have with huge benefits within blockchain and tokens, and sort of mix those two together and cook something up, I guess. And that was it, man. It was nothing more than that. Like I just wanted to create something that had those two things and just go for it. To be honest, like if you have enough belief in your ability to learn and to execute and to work with better people, then I mean, what's stopping you? Just go for it.
I love it. That's fantastic. Well, do you have or have you played an Oculus Quest 2? It's a very serious question.
I don't own any VR headset. I have played on like VR headsets at like friends' houses, but
yeah.
And it's something people keep telling me to do, but I wouldn't even be able to name like one. I think there was like a Half-Life game on it or something like that. But
there is a Half-Life game, but the reason I bring it up is This SOB is only $3.99.99 at your local store in the US. Not sure how much it is in the UK. But they literally have a game called Cookout. And it's like the Cookin' Mama or, the one that you were describing, except you're in the kitchen cutting that crap together, putting it on a plate and serving it as fast as you can. It is mind-blowing. And I got so into it, I accidentally smacked the shit out of my dog's head because I was cutting bread, throwing it on a plate. Oh my gosh. I'm telling you what right now, man. If you got into that Cookin' Mama game, if you get this thing, your mind's going to be blown. And that, dude, when you play stuff like that and you feel like this NFT could just be it's a gateway into all of that stuff. It's so exciting. It's so exciting to be a part of this. And I think us coming from like hardcore gaming backgrounds, Maddie and I think it helps us visualize the future as well too, because we know that interactivity, that gamification. I love how you used gamification a lot, Chef, because I think that's a really interesting way to make the mundane interesting again, right? I think I just said interesting like 3 times in a row. But yeah, I highly recommend the VR set. I just had to bring that up before we went on to the actual project.
You've definitely opened my mind. My mind started wandering to, in the world that we're creating with the game studio, how easy could that be ported into like a VR world? Because from a product point of view, I do wonder what difficulty, like, is it difficult, right? Why couldn't I create a game that is compatible in a VR world and could have the cool NFT stuff, and it'd be much more immersive, right, with a VR headset than it would be on a desktop PC? But I am 1,000,000% gonna get this Oculus and then get that game to check it out at the very least. I promise you.
I'm DMing it to you right now because you have to check the shit out. It's unbelievable.
That is awesome.
Okay, so couple things that I want to touch on, and we'll go throughout the process. But let's start at the beginning. All right, you're like, all right, got an NFT, played cooking game with my girl. I got this burp token. I'm excited about that, and we're gonna make this NFT. Can you take us through that process of starting from scratch? What was your mindset? You mentioned VCs. Most NFT projects go into NFTs as being a Kickstarter VC to then build things. What was your mindset and plan there? And can you kind of take us through that process?
Yeah, so when I approach a new product, especially something like this, is I always start with just boxes, just like square boxes or circular, like round circles on a piece of paper, and just trying to map out the journey of like data and users, right? Like, what's the different functionality that could exist within the game, whether it's the game itself, whether it's marketplaces, whether it's farming, right? And how do they interact with each other, right? What's the purpose of them talking to each other? Like, how does that contribute to the overall product that you're creating? And I mean, look, we're talking about games here, but when I built an exchange, again, we've done the exact same thing, right? We just had to understand these user journeys, and that's why I always start something dirty as a piece of paper,
right?
And then you have to make stuff balanced, right? You have to, for me, I have to understand, well, if we're going to spend a token here, like, do you gain a token there? How do we introduce new players to the game if you've only got 10,000 Genesis NFTs for your chefs, right? You can't obviously just have 10,000 players playing your game max at one time. It doesn't make much sense, right, as a business.
Right.
So I think, again, I would always start off with something super dirty, super rough, map it out, try to make it make sense. And once you've got a decent grasp and feel as to a product that you think could work, then you sort of dive into the weeds of it to try and work out and use your technical, like my experience with tokenomics and stuff like that, and understanding of how blockchains and the technology that's available to us. And that's sort of my approach, high level. And you iterate, man. You iterate. You keep going. Like, it's never going to be perfect. You see new funky stuff come out by Yuga Labs, or you see Wolf Game, or whoever it is, and you take these interesting products and you feel, look, man, like, it's everyone copies each other. I never try and be the first guy that thinks of the very first thing, right? Because it's I mean, we have a joke, right? With when I mentor one of the kids, I always they have these designs for these apps, and they're looking to think of something new and novel. And I say, man, just look at like Airbnb, or just look at like a big company. I mean, these guys have got teams of 500, 1,000 people who do that exact thing, and they've ended up at this super clean UI for a reason, man. Don't try and feel that you as a one person can figure out something better than them. Just copy it, man. There's no need. Like, just take the design. Save your time. Save your mental energy.
Dude, I love that you said that, because that is, I mean, it hasn't been until recently. Well, I think it's your first kind of like aha moment becoming a manager and then a leader, is like, you have to put the trust in the people that you're working with to do the work. But it was such a relief to me, because I went to advertising design school, right? But when I finally came to that mentality, I'm like, well, one, it just takes too much for me to design. I can be using my time better elsewhere. And two, there's a million more designers in this world. Many more than that are just better designers than me, and I can pay them to do it. So why would I just not do that? And yeah, just or copying something that, with your own take on it. It's like there's no need to reinvent the wheel. So it's refreshing to you to hear that. I think my next question is, so you're I think you're the first person we've had on that is kind of a finance guru, a token expert that's not just talking about finance. They're actually I'm trying to say implement that into their NFT. Can you talk about why tokens are important to an NFT project, and why you decided to implement a token to your project? Because a lot of times I think people see tokens and they're like, and this could be the case, and I think it is the case some of the times, that, oh, we're just going to create a token because that's what everybody is doing. And it can come off a little bit gimmicky. I'd love to hear your take, knowing that you're an expert and kind of have background in this area.
Sure. I mean, I have like multiple thoughts on why tokens should exist in games. I mean, the key one for me is like, why create a game which has an underlying token against what we currently see being released by the AAA game studios in World of Warcraft, etc., like that. And my biggest bugbear is the way that the profits are shared amongst the games. Like, if you compare the likes of what we see on, for me in UK, it's FIFA, right? So if I take FIFA as an example, right, the money that you use to convert into their in-game currency, or FIFA points, or in Ultimate Team you have other currencies in there. It's locked, right? There's only one way. There is no bilateral route, right? Once you get your money in, you can't get the money out. The money flows to the very top. It's not shared amongst the players. People are constantly losing money. There is no way, unless you use the black markets to try and do some sort of gold shifts and make some money that way, but they soon get closed down. It all flows to the top, which is completely unfair. It's a complete broken system. The guys at the very top of the food chain, the directors, are the one that are making all the money. But for the first time now, with tokens, we have the opportunity to create games that are very fair and balanced in nature, that people can earn some capital. And I know play to earn seems to get a bit of a bad press nowadays, and people are sort of pivoting to play and earn. But that again, when we talk about money and byproducts, right? For me, the money should be the byproduct. It's like, you should just play the game because you enjoy playing it. But what's really supportive around the tokens is it's opened up this new world of being able to earn some capital while you play it as well. Before, you would just be stuck pumping money into games and just losing it. Tokens also allow you to, I mean, look, we live in a world where we can have MetaMask wallets, which are decentralized, full ownership of your full custody of your own crypto and stuff like that. In the world of FIFA or World of Warcraft, it's all locked, it's all centralized, you can't take it out. So again, we're moving in a direction that I truly believe that the world should go in, like true ownership of your token, of your currency. So those two reasons, I feel, I guess, probably to start with are two of my key reasons why I feel that NFTs and tokens within games that are based on NFTs can be super beneficial when compared to what we're currently seeing in the traditional gaming space.
I love it. And then backing our building on top of that, when I first got in, we were always really hesitant on the tokens and the DAOs because there's the whole gray area, legalese behind it. Again, you being a finance token background, having that background, what are your actual business thoughts on how to make this ecosystem properly, legally, have your checks and balances in there, opposed to, a couple high school, early college kids saying, I want to do this. I'm just going to wing it and see what happens.
Yeah, so I do have some opinions on DAOs. Like, I feel the current state of play, it's just a buzzword that people like to use because it's something that feels like in an ideal world, in this utopia, we could have this DAO-led project where everyone votes and makes the best decisions for the best of the project. The reality, again, like just putting my logical hat on, right, is that I think if you gave a project, you gave this DAO $100 million to do whatever they wanted to design the best game, or whatever. Let's say the task was design best game. Number one, they're not getting anywhere very fast. The decisions, again, let me just give an example from what I've seen with Yuga Labs and when they released Ape Token, right? For those who don't know, they had a bunch of these AIPs, these proposals that they put through to the DAO to vote on. And one of the key ones that they got stuck on was staking. They were like, how do we develop this super fair staking mechanism to make sure that we got a bunch of tokens here and we want to be able to reward our loyal holders of NFTs to be able to earn a bunch of these tokens, right? And they open it up to the DAO. So the DAO, this proposal comes through, which has been put through by, I think, Animoca put it through, and it was up to the DAO to vote on. But everyone had a different opinion, right? It's like too many, again, like, I mean, go back to like too many chefs in the kitchen, man. Like everyone thinks there is no optimum solution there. It's just a bunch of good solutions. Like that solution A could work, solution B could work. And what you end up doing in that scenario is it just takes too much time. There's too much confusion going around, which is why I don't feel DAOs in that case, when it's a specific subject like that, just don't perform well. Too many projects use DAOs as just a buzzword to put in their project. I feel what I believe in is something called progressive decentralization. And what that means is over time, you look to hand over some of the keys, some of the decision making over to the DAO. But at the beginning, right, like you said it before, right, the CEOs are CEOs for a reason. They make the best decisions like the majority of the time, right? If you suddenly said to my whole team, of 30 people with all different opinions, let's all just have a vote on everything we do, right? You're just going to have contrasting opinions all the time.
Yep.
I always think it's at the very beginning of projects, it's much better to have two or three, very few people actually make the key decisions at the start, and then over time look to give away some of the decisions. You will never reach a point that every single decision can be voted on the DAO. It's just impossible, right? No one's got the time and the effort, and it's very rare that you reach like huge consensus on a lot of decisions. It's like the staking with Yuga Labs. You just have this button of heads that delays everything for another 2 months until another proposal comes. It just takes too long.
Yeah, I was, and that was everybody's complaint, right? Like, dude, this has been almost a year of this culminating for an ape token, and land is taking forever, and just awesome to hear your perspective on that. I really appreciate it. And then I think that the final piece of that question was, how about the business, the legal perspective on how to truly do this correctly, right? And by the book. Are we talking if you could, just drive our community through that, because I think we have a lot of people newer to NFTs, and for them to understand the business perspective of how to make a legit token on a project. So when they're going to a project and, they have the founders have expertise at marketing and some other things, and they're saying they're going to make this, new age token, you can probably call BS on it, right?
Yeah, so it depends on how you want to implement this token to support the DAO, right? If we take a protocol like an Anchor or an Aave, right? Or I'll give you an easy one. Let's take a decentralized exchange like Uniswap, right? So what you can do, because it's in code, you can write proposals such that you may want to change the fee on the Uniswap pool, right? It may be currently 0.3, but there may be a proposal that comes through that wants to change the fee to 1%. And you can programmatically, through code and smart contracts, you can open up that proposal, and on the basis that it gets accepted, it just writes it directly to code. And that's the nature in the simplest way that everything can be done legally. It's all in code, it's all software, it's all blockchain. No one can stop it. There's no control of it. It's just the nature of the tokens and who has voting power in that system. And it can be committed to code immediately, right? There is no I'm in an R in about, okay, well, they voted for us to change the homepage to a new design, but let's get started on that. It's like immediately the decision's been made, it changes it to code. So that's sort of the simplest one. The trickier parts are sometimes your tokens can, if they fail the wrong test, I think it's called the Howey test over in America, is the securities test.
Yep.
So what you have to be very careful with is with tokens and DAOs, there may be some characteristics of your token that you're using to drive some decisions around DAOs, which could be perceived as a security token, and that's a very rocky road to sort of go down. So that there is that. I've also, and I can't, this was a conversation I had probably about a year ago. I believe there was and I can't remember the country, but there was a legal way to set up a DAO in a jurisdiction which was governed, and the directors were actually token holders, I believe, but I can't remember the specifics of it. But in terms of in terms of how, I guess your question was how it can legally be done, like how DAOs can make the decisions. It depends on the basis of what it is that they're trying to make a decision on. If they're making a decision on implementing regulation to become a e-money institute in the UK, that's not going to fly. You're going to need it's much more complex decision than just a DAO voting on it, right? But if it's let's change the Uniswap pool fee from 0.3 to 1%, like there's no legal problems with that. It's pure software, it's all code, and it can be done.
Gotcha. Awesome. Maddie, any follow-up questions before I keep on going?
No, I was chuckling though. I love the comment about how you can't get 25 people in one space and just have them vote on what's going to be best. And it made me chuckle how many of our massive institutions rely on that exact principle. And then it's just kind of interesting. You're right. It's very difficult to get anything effective done that way. And so there's definitely a balance. So I like what you were saying about progressive decentralization as a means to like actually get something accomplished, and then once you kind of have a groundwork, you can build around that. So I think that's a very good point.
Awesome. And so moving on, one of the definitely wanted to ask the token question and the finance question because you have that background, and then two, what's interesting to me is you got this massive celebrity chef, right? And as we know in the NFT space, celebrities have not fared too well, and they have been associated in a negative light a majority of the time with NFT projects. So could you take me through the thought process of why going down the celebrity route with your project? I'm fascinated to kind of understand your thought process.
Yeah, and just to look, I completely understand what you're covering. There's so many celebrities that are being misadvised or somehow
Yep.
ending up in NFTs or cryptos and just clearly not knowing what the hell they're doing and just
Yep.
being either don't know what they're doing and inadvertently scamming others because on the basis of just being unknowledgeable and you know not up to speed with what the project's about, or in the case of some celebrities doing it on purpose to scam people. And this is common, I guess, not only just NFTs but crypto world as well. And it does paint us in a bad light a lot of the time because that's what the media wants to report on, right? But there are tons of people who want to do it right. Like, we really want to do it right. We want to be able to create this bridge. The future is metaverse for me. The way that the conversation went was we knew we were going to take this cooking game on, and we knew that we wanted to build in this world which was new and fantastical. And it sort of naturally led us down the route of whether we could work with a famous chef who would want to join us and was as equally enthusiastic and driven about the game as we were. So it was like we were going to do Big Time Chef regardless. Like, it wasn't a prerequisite to have a real world chef to come work with us on this, but if we could find someone who enjoyed working on the project as much as us, then we'd be stupid not to. So yeah, we reached out to a guy called Gino DeCampo, mega famous, household name here in the UK. I would be shocked if probably, I guess his demographic, and he does joke, is more the 45 plus year old women. But even the 20-year-old guys here in the UK, I think they all know who he is as well. He's always on TV. And yeah, we pitched this idea to him. And it took about 10 minutes. And he was like, look, guys, I don't know what NFTs are about, but I want to learn. This sounds amazing. I believe this is the future. Like, this is it. And we done it for a Zoom call. So he says, right, the first thing I want you to do is come to my office later this week and teach me about NFTs. Like, explain like I'm 5, right? What you've told me sounds amazing, but I need you to really take me from the ground and work my way up. So again, huge green light for me. Like, that's exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to be involved with someone who had that interest. So that's sort of how the journey began with Gino. Yeah,
that's awesome. And that is that's just such a great answer and really speaks to that is what I hope when I see a celebrity, is they're genuinely interested in the technology. They believe in the future. And what I was hinting at is what you exactly said. I think it's far too often you see what my assumption is what is happening, because I did advertising stuff in a previous life, is you've got your PR agency and you've got your talent agency, and they're like, hey, have you heard of this NFT thing? You can make an extra $10 million this year. And they're like, yeah, fine, whatever, I'll do it. And they're like, well, you just got to show up. We'll shoot a couple commercials. We'll take a couple photos and you're good to go. Right. And they never hear about it again. And it's really cool to know that Gino wants to be intimately involved and understand what actually you're using his person for. So that's cool. Yeah. That's great to hear.
What was so when you had that meeting, what was the part, I guess, what was the nugget where it clicked for him when he was like, ooh, like, now I get it? What was the epiphany moment for him?
So the example we used in the deck, which I always explain to people, because I think the general public, if you talk about NFTs, they just think about art, right? It's just a natural thing, right? And the easiest way to explain it in the basic terms is I always say that real world art often has this issue with provenance, right? How can I prove that the person is telling me that this is the Mona Lisa? Well, how can I prove it's the Mona Lisa? And often you have to have experts to verify and look into it and sort of sign it off, right? You don't have that problem here in NFT world, right? And this is the direction that art is going to go. It's going to go into the digital format where it can be cryptographically proven that the owner and the creator of this specific piece of art was the genuine thing. So that was sort of the example I put in there. But the thing which I guess what I thought led him to believe that this is definitely the future was what you said earlier, was meta. It's meta, right? it's the fact that Facebook have changed their name to Meta because of the metaverse. They're banking on this being the big thing in the future, and he wants to be part of that. As he's a business owner, right? He's business savvy. He wants to be on the cutting edge and work with companies like ourselves who are genuine. And on the flip side, we only want to work with people like Gino, who is a celebrity in his own right, but it's not just this person who just does a part of posting and doing stuff on the socials, right? It needs to have much a deeper relationship than that. So it worked both ways. He was super interested in the space. He'd heard about it through his son. His son had a couple of NFTs, I believe, already. So there was sort of murmurs probably at the dinner table around that. And just I mean, you make your own luck, really, but maybe it was just great timing that it was sort of the hot topic at the time with his son, and he got approached by us with a cool product.
You make your own luck. I love that. We say that often. That's a great question, Matt. That's interesting. I'd love to hear how you kind of pitched it to him. And so with that being said, like those were two of I was really interested to hear your thoughts on those. We also love to kind of, this is your platform to kind of talk about your project. And, obviously our community knows there's not anyone that comes on the show that we don't personally talk to before, because our brand, all we have is our brand, right? Even if our brand is destroyed, we don't have much. So they know that, everyone that comes on, we've had a conversation, and we believe. So this is your chance to kind of talk. And you said you've given hundreds of these, but what would be your elevator pitch to Gino's Big Town Chef NFT, and why people should spend their hard-earned money with you?
Yeah, so I mean, Gino's Big Town Chef is initially 10,000 Genesis chef NFTs. And it's sort of your introduction to farming, trading, and battling within our cooking metaverse. Like we call it the metaverse's kitchen. We have significant experience in the space already. I'm an 8-year founder within crypto, which I think is probably more than half the existence that crypto's even been around. And like how many people can say that they've been been around working in an industry more than half the time it's been alive. We've had significant funding from VCs. We're a team of around 40 plus. We've got advisors like sort of Sebastian Bourget, who's the COO of Sandbox, who's on board and who's helping us with a lot of the decision making we're here. So veterans in the metaverse space already, right?
Right.
We've got the support from Gino Campo, a more traditional household name chef here. And look, I am, like I said, I'm a personal advisor and mentor to many companies in the Web3 space. I know what works. I've started with nothing to get where we are today. And I feel we've got all the, we've got everything for the right recipe to make sure that this is a success. And I'm super excited, look, at what you could bring. And I'm hope everyone is as equally excited to me about what the game could bring. I mean, maybe I'll touch on one more thing around, I guess the way we approach it around the chef NFTs, right? Chef NFTs are at the core of everything we do. Mm-hmm. Like we have to provide value. We, as a business and a product, everything revolves around the owners of the chef NFTs. They should get preferential treatment, exclusive access, passive rewards and income through different ways within the game. So what we feel is we bring something quite different than what currently exists on the market in terms of the gamified nature of things like farming and battling and cooking. It's easy to understand from a Web 2 native and the traditional gaming space, and I feel we can bring the best of both worlds on multiple different verticals within the product.
I love it. No, that's a great way, and I think you heard we had Antonym on, who was this huge advocate of Phygital and how do you get Web 2 to Web 3 and bridging that gap. So I think what's more universal than cooking, right? So I think and food is a smart move. Can you talk about and again, just for the audience and any of this stuff you can clip to share with your community, but for the actual utility, mechanics, kind of just like timelines, like you said, these chef NFTs are at the heart of your universe. Do you see the token coming out first, the metaverse, the game? Like, what is the process of once this mint happens, and what can we expect next?
Yeah, so the game we expect to be fully released by the end of the year. What we will do in between then is we are developing a second collection which will actually benefit players within the game. It's going to be called Big Town Pets. So you can bank on that if you are a Chef NFT holder, the initial Genesis Chef NFT holder, that you will be treated much better with regards to the Big Town Pets than maybe the public would. So there's something there. What we have, which is unique to us, is we can not only provide utility in the metaverse in our game, but also real world. We're just finalizing a super cool competition, which we believe, and it's not been it's sort of been penciled in as the 100K cook-off, which will be exclusive access only to people who hold Chef NFTs. And I mean, we talked about we talked about being generous and working with others to try and bring them up and raise them up. And a big thing for us, again, which runs deep within our company, is what we have is a platform to really shine a light and showcase talent around the world when it comes to cooking. Some of the amazing things that we've seen in our Discord, man, like we've done cooking competitions just as a bit of fun, as a way to engage people, right? And we have some of the most talented, unrecognized chefs within our community. I like from all over the world, right? We seem to be doing really well in sort of the Asian continent, and that sort of really struck a chord with me. I wanted to do the biggest cooking competition online that's ever been seen, and the reality is that there will be a huge cash prize at the end, but more than that, I want to be able to, in an ideal world, find this under recognized chef out somewhere, wherever, who hasn't had the break in life, who really wants to do something good. And I feel with the platform we've got with Gino, we're going to take on 10 different heats online, which Gino is going to challenge our community to be the best, do 10 different heats, and then he will judge who the winner is of that heat. 10 different meals, right?
Yeah.
At the end of all the competitions, when we have 10 winners, we're going to fly them out to London, and they're going to cook in front of the man himself, Gino. And it's going to be a huge thing. We're going to tie it around a big food festival as well. There's so much utility that's going to be happening. And it just hits home on so many angles, right? We would love nothing more than be able to take someone who hasn't had the opportunity to become a professional chef, but always has wanted to all their life, fly them out here, they cook in front of Gino, win the lot, and then go on to be a real star. So there is utility all across the board. Like, you don't need to wait until the game's released to find utility in the token. There's going to be a bunch of stuff.
I freaking love that. That's amazing that you're doing the in real life stuff in the game, and all of it's coming together. That's amazing. Maddie, do you have any follow-ups?
Yeah, so you think about it, like there's some shows where people will get kind of like cherry picked into a cooking competition, right? But there's no version of essentially pick your, whether it's America's Got Talent, and now there's, I think, one like all around the world, but you know what I'm talking about, like these talent competitions where essentially the public can just line up and put their abilities on the line to win a spot. You know what I'm saying? Because as you said, that would be a difficult ordeal to organize with cooking. I mean, how would you do that? It would be very difficult, right? It would be time consuming, but this actually provides a venue where you can do that. And that's kind of cool to see that you'd be able to then reward them on that same scale. So what would you say? So like day one, I buy into this, I mint. What's my like day one utility? What am I going to get right off the bat?
Yeah, sure. So we are we've actually already developed a raffle, right? So part of which will actually form a large part of the game is a raffle. When you buy a Chef NFT, you'll get rewarded and airdropped not only burp tokens, so as part of a staking mechanic that we're going to have built, but also this raffle system, which we will be working and partnering up with a bunch of other NFT projects to do this. Really, it's a bit of fun, right? But it's going to be huge prizes on offer. What you get these raffle tickets, and you can stake them within the raffle. At the end of the month, you get a big prize draw, and people get rewarded with loads of different things. So that's sort of the day one utility. We have this huge cooking competition which will be taking place. We're working with the same merch designers who worked with things like Imaginary Ones, Bored Ape Yacht Club. We're creating some really cool merch for exclusively just for holders of the Chef NFTs. But look, we're here for the long term, man. Like this I wish I could drop everything on day one. It is a gradual process, as I know you definitely understand.
Sure.
But yeah, they're two of the key things we're going to have ready very early, if not on the day of mint. But
Love
yeah,
it.
a ton of other stuff which will be coming up this year.
Well, it's just refreshing to hear that you'll have something, because there's a lot of projects that expect people to spend all this money, and then 2 months goes down the road and there's still nothing. So I think, and actually would love to get your feedback on that as an NFT founder and owner. What we have seen is day one utility becomes more and more important, because more people get rugged, more people are understanding that these are Kickstarters or venture projects, and they're helping a business get off the ground. Do you think day one utility is paramount, or do you what would you put above that?
I think first and foremost, if you've committed to it on your roadmap, you need to deliver on it. So if that's something that you've said you're going to be able to provide, you need to make sure you ship it right on day one. If you don't do it, you're going against what you said, and that's obviously it's not a good way to start once you've minted. I don't believe it's super important from a commercial standpoint. When we look at sort of peaks and troughs and sort of trade volumes and floor price and stuff like that, it doesn't actually make sense from a commercial standpoint to drop everything on the same day, because what you will see in most projects is, and I would not be surprised if they have a bunch of products and actually shelf them and then to release them periodically, but you'll see strategies implemented to sort of encourage a healthier trading volumes on the secondary markets, right? It's sort of this peak and trough thing. So you build up and you release this information. Maybe you do some teases and you drop a bit of information, and you actually drop the product, which often not drives the token price and volumes up. You of course have a bit of a lull period, but you know that you're going to time something else within a month or two that will actually pick up and do that again. And you do have this, if it's executed well, you do have this continuous sort of peak and trough moment, which is something that is very healthy, right? We actually haven't. I think we've said it's a vision, not a roadmap. That's the big thing for us, right? We know we can deliver on our vision, and we've done some key features and products that were in there. But I am much more of the mentality to under promise and over deliver. I think too many projects try to put too much on their roadmap and fail, and it's like for example, if I was speaking to a member of my staff and they told me it takes 60 minutes to do a task and they've done it in 30, I would be so much happier than if someone had told me it's going to take 30 minutes and it actually took 60. So I'd say don't ever overpromise, man. Just be that type of company that under promises and over delivers constantly.
Yeah, we've had some founders on this show that probably would have loved to hear that advice before they started their marketing. And it's just, and especially then you layer on the top of this space, and honestly, it doesn't matter what business you're in. I'm sure you can attest to this. Your consumers are brutal, man. I mean, it's just, if they're going to hold you to the fire if you miss a millimeter, right? So yeah, I think that is absolutely the right approach, and time projects have been burned for that exact reason.
And I don't think just add, I don't think a lot of these people are trying to be malicious, right?
Oh,
I
not
just
at
think they're
all.
getting
Not at all.
overexcited.
Yep.
They're just thinking like, how many different things can I think of to stick on there? But then when for example the money is raised, that the realizations suddenly hits them that it's just too much. They can't execute quick enough to be able to deliver on the roadmap, and they're left in a
Right.
situation where they probably feel shitty, right?
Yep.
Genuinely, like a lot of them just feel really shitty because they promise all this stuff to the community out of excitement and just passion for the space and the project they're building,
Right.
and then realize that they can't do it and finish it in time.
Yeah, you said it right there. I think that's my interpretation of it is I would say a majority of these people absolutely are not malicious, right? And they are just excited. And they're like,
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Excited, or sometimes we have a tendency to think things are going to be easier than they are. Like, Mike, you
True.
just moved, right? You just moved. So let me ask you this. When you looked at the project of packing up and moving, how long did you really think it was going to take to pack up everything in your house?
Yeah, I mean,
Right? And then when you get doing it, you're like, "Oh, I'll clear out the garage," and you're half done cleaning out your garage, and you're like, "What is this? What just
right.
happened?" Right? And that that's a very small scale, but like now imagine with an entire project and multiple people working and that being compounded.
Oh,
Like you said, you almost have to you have to keep this stuff close to your chest, because once you say it, the community expects you to clear out your garage this afternoon, right? And that's
for
the problem,
sure.
is like it's hard to deliver on that. And I think that's
Yeah.
just a normal human kind of reaction to it.
And there's a miss, and I saw this with Hate Beast, right? I
Yeah.
think they never once said that they were going to have a Gucci or a Supreme partnership, right? That never once came out of their mouth. But people assumed that was going to happen. And then what's happening with Web3 right now is there's no all of the merch and the actual business back end stuff that happens is traditional Web2 corporate America companies. And guess what? That shit takes forever. And so you have this Web3 facade, but you still have to deal with traditional business practices. And it's this impossible situation that if you do set the expectation that something might happen with a fashion brand or another company, people expect that maybe a month after mint, but the reality is maybe a year after mint that will happen.
Yeah.
Well, what are your thoughts on that, Chef?
Yeah, I mean, I often see, I guess, some of the largest companies have to fend off these rumors, right? Because
Yeah.
what actually happens is that on the back of these absolute rumors that I've no idea where they sort of started from, you do see price increases, right? Floor prices start picking up, and people start getting burnt. And then, so what I often see, I think Google Labs might have done it if I can recall correctly, is that when a rumor starts to pick up momentum and they feel like it could actually adjust the floor price, they come out and release a statement to say that it's not true.
Mm-hmm.
Because if they don't do any action, what will end up happening inevitably is people are going to buy on the price increase, and when the realization is that the rumor is just a rumor and it has got no substance at all, the price will come crashing down and people get burnt. And then it causes the community to turn against you because you sort of alluded to this, or this is what we thought, or they just got it off some guy on Twitter, and it causes, it's not good for anyone. There's always losers when that happens.
Oh, for sure.
Now, and speaking of community, tell us about the community you guys have built around Big Town Chef. Like, how is that going? Do you feel like it's developing according to plan? Are you trying to go for the more, like, again, one exaggeration is the hate beast, like masses, masses, masses? Or are you trying to do more kind of an intimate, these are the people that are truly excited? How would you describe how your community is coming together, and is it according to plan?
Yeah, so I mean, our thing is about close knit community, right? We're about quality, not quantity. So we want some people who are really, and look, food is global, like you said, right? It's something that really resonates with tons and tons of people. It's It's something that truly touches everyone, man. I think about my mum's food and stuff. I wish I was still living at home sometimes, getting my mum cooking for me. But we're after this. Like, we know we will deliver. We know we will ship. We're after people who will join our community and have a bit of fun and engage with us. We'll do these fun competitions, and we'll continue pre and post mint to provide like significant utility, and that will always be our approach, right? We want. It doesn't take many. Like, we've got some die-hard people in our Discord that we absolutely love seeing. So look, a lot of we're not after. I mean, how can you have a decent conversation if 30,000 active online people are in your Discord chatting all the time? It's impossible, right?
Right.
We want to be able to encourage active community and really engage with some of the core members within our community, and that's what we're trying to build.
I love it. I love it. And with I would love to get your take, and I always think about this is one of the things that's kind of popped in my head that I talk a lot about is we talk about Web 3.0 a lot, but I think this is really brand 3.0 too, right? It's a different way to build a brand with, there's the rare brand out there like a GoPro or a Red Bull where their product naturally fits in a cool lifestyle that's easy to market and, do social and get people excited about. But, I come from a car insurance industry, and that's very difficult to do organic stuff and build content. But NFTs and these companies that are being built from the ground up a lot from the community. Do you agree with that? And being I guess the second part, being a quote unquote traditional business owner before, even though it was, some of them were Web3 focused, does that excite you? Do you see a difference? What are your thoughts around that?
Yeah, I mean, I've come from a traditional Web 2 world of creating a crypto exchange and moved into Web 3. But what that's given me is the ability to see what we need to build in Web 3 to really make it a success. And again, to take it back to Big Town Chef, I feel we've got such an interesting product that could naturally really appeal to a lot of Web 2 brands, right? It's the metaverse play, it's the direction we're going. Like, Meta have banked on it, right? And suddenly there's tons and tons of cooking brands. I mean, we've seen like the likes of Adidas and Nike, right, with Artifact, and Adidas doing stuff. I think I claim my my Adidas tracksuit as having one of those Adidas into the metaverse NFTs recently, right?
Right.
They're obviously making moves into the space. It's the direction that people are heading. And we've purposely been quite broad with terms of our approach around the metaverse, and some of the messaging we actually do when we speak to these household cooking brands as well, the way that we position it. But we feel, with Big Time Chef, that we have a natural synergy with some of these brands who, when they look at what Adidas and Nike are getting up to, I know that there are conversations being held about how could we be the cooking brand of the metaverse within Big Town Chef. So I've got that, luckily enough. Coming from a Web2 background initially and moving into this space, I know what sort of they will be looking out for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's awesome. What else? And Maddie, we actually have some community questions.
Yep,
I actually have a final question just for you, Chef, before we get into those, unless you have something else, Maddie. Are you good?
I was ask. I was just curious how this specific artwork came around.
Oh yeah.
I'm just always curious how people kind of choose what they're gonna do. And I mean, obviously, you can really kind of pick anything in terms of this. What led you to this style particular of artwork?
Yeah, I guess I didn't want to pigeonhole ourselves into a specific thing that could be, I guess, 15 plus or 18 plus. I think I wanted to be quite broad and family friendly. I want something quite cutesy, quite Pixar-esque, right? Something that could lend well to sort of animation and sort of TV and stuff in the future, because I want to keep all the doors open, right? I don't know exactly where we will be in 1 or 3 years, but I feel if you do go down a specific route to begin with, then you might end up closing some of the doors that otherwise might have been accessible to you in sort of 3 years time. So one of the key things for us is we don't want to cut any, and we will not cut any corners. And I feel I truly believe that the art does show that, right? We want super high quality 3D assets. So not only will they exist as 2D images that we've rendered and stuck as an image as your NFT, but they will exist as your 3D model within our cookie metaverse. But it was the whole cooking and being. I mean, Ratatouille was the inspiration around it and sort of lends to Pixar. And I was certain that we were going to do something when we were doing this second collection, which is going to be Big Town Pets. Is it alpha if I reveal what's going to happen? Might be. Gino's got this dog, which will be the leader of the pack of Big Town Pets. So we continue down the route. He's got this dog called Snoop, and Snoop will be the leader of the pack for Big Town Pets. But initially, before that happened, I was like certain I was going to try and do an ode to Ratatouille and do like a collection of rats. But then I don't know, it doesn't sound too appealing, I guess, a collection of rats. So we sort of went over to the pet side.
That's fantastic.
All I heard was Snoop Dogg.
I think it's copyright. I think we've got to be very careful about using that. I think it's trademarked here. So,
it might be.
I'll leave it at Snoop.
I'm sure. So my final question, insight is, I'm really interested in this as well. I think you obviously, with your past success, your business acumen, there's no doubt in my mind that you're going to do what you say that you're going to do, and you're going to put the pedal to the metal and work on this project until it's successful. The reality of the situation is we're in a real shitty market right now. And what do you do with this ecosystem? We've seen lots of projects delay mint. We've seen other projects say, screw it, we're going to mint, maybe lower the price. What are your thoughts on the current situation and how you're adjusting your plans to it?
Yeah, I mean, look, I'd be lying if I said this market is probably, the worst. It's definitely the worst I've seen for quite some time. But I have lived through this already. I have been around the 2017 bull run and the 2018 bear market, right? I've lived it. I felt it, man. That hurt back then. And a lot of people, unfortunately, this is the first time that they felt it, right? NFTs have only been around for so long. I felt it in crypto. Right. This is I feel we got a long way to go, but every single day it changes, man. As quickly as it came, it could go as quickly as well, right? We don't have any immediate at the minute. We have not decided to make any changes to our mint date, our mint pricing, or anything just yet. But we are completely aware that the market may not want us to try and mint at that day, and we may push it back. But it's not a call that I'm going to make for like another week or two before we decide. But no doubt we'll take the temperature of the community and the wider market and speak to a lot of advisors and get a feeling for whether it's the right time or not. Look, when we were raising capital, it's quite funny. Within a space of about 2 days, you could go in a position of every single VC wanting to speak to you and invest in you without even looking at a pitch deck, to suddenly saying, "Hey, look, can we just hold off for a week? Like we're just sort of keeping an eye on the market, right?" It's so fickle and it can change so quickly. And I know that's representative of, like, I look at the data as well. I'm a data guy, right?
Right.
So if we just look at obviously trade volumes, the obvious one. If we look at active wallets in the Ethereum and stuff like that, all the signals are saying don't do it, right? Just delay it and just wait off. But
right.
I mean, I remember that people were calling an NFT bear market. Was it earlier this year? And then as quick as it came in 2 weeks, it suddenly started popping again. It's just so much can change in a week or two. I'm just holding fire before we make any solid calls on that.
No, I love it. I think that's a great response. Maddie, do we have community questions ready?
Yes. So I'll go through some of these, and I'm just going to read them verbatim as they came in. So hopefully this will make sense. One of the questions is, will this NFT be using real recipes in game that players can learn to cook in real life?
A good question.
Yeah, so we're playing with some cool ideas. The idea around the game mechanics is that everyone starts with this basic food truck, and that basic food truck can only cook a select different types of meals. And I haven't actually gone into the mechanics of the game, so maybe this is an opportunity to go
Yeah,
into
yeah,
that.
yeah, definitely.
So,
Dive on
yeah,
in.
so let's assume that your food truck can only cook these basic 5 meals, right? To be able to cook the meals and to play the game, you need to have the ingredients. Um, the ingredients can either be purchased directly from the food market that we have, or when we talk about gamification, we have this gamified baking piece, which is farming, right? You can buy the seeds, you can buy the grains, you can buy the smaller, the baby onions, right, and plant them in your farm. And you would let them grow over time. And when they reach the point in time where you can harvest them, much like a farmer, the price you paid at the very beginning would be much cheaper than what they would be worth once they've fully grown, right? Once you've
Yeah.
harvested them, you have the choice. You either sell them back to the market and take your profit, and that's the gamified staking piece, or you use them in game. So let's just assume you use them in game. One of the meals which will probably be available to you at the very beginning is something like pizza. So you may select, right, I want to cook a pizza in my PvP battle game against my opponent, and you have the ingredients to be able to do that. Once you've matched up with an opponent, we then have this sort of RNG piece that we want to sort of add a little bit of spice in there to make sure not everything is just completely fair, right? You need to have an RNG based piece within the game. So our play on that is the location. So pizza would be more compatible in a place like Italy. So you may be lucky enough to, once it spins the dial, you may end up in Italy. And the customers that you're serving may be much more easily appeased if they're being fed pizza. On the flip side, if you get selected a place like, let's say, Japan, maybe pizzas aren't as appealing to the people of Japan than they are to Italy, and it'd be a bit harder to get the approval from the customers. So once you enter the game, the scoring system will be based on a few things. One of them being the amount of orders that you give to the customers, the amount of tips you receive, and the amount of returns you receive. So tips is obviously a good thing, returns are a bad thing, and that will be down to the quality of the meal you cook. After a 4-minute period of time, when you get to the very end, we would take all that stuff together. We would give you a final score, and then whoever gets the highest score wins.
I love it. That's actually a really fun concept.
Yeah, I do like that. I like that a lot. To parlay, I'm gonna say this. Can we race the food trucks? That was a community question.
It's not in our current plans at the minute, racing food trucks.
Fair
But
enough.
maybe, you know, we suddenly
That's
pivot to
funny.
this racing game.
A little mini game, perhaps. Nice.
Yeah.
I like it. Is it just gonna be food, or is there also gonna be beverages, like a bartending or like a craft beer kind of component?
We don't intend, as part of the core mechanics of the game, we just want to focus on the food.
Okay.
But again, look, we're speaking to a ton of different household brands as well, and just seeing, like, taking a temperature and what particularly they want to do. I mean, it's the clear one's ad space, right? We've had a bunch of interest from companies who, when the game is out and released, they want to be able to position their brand within our arena. And when we
Sure.
talk about balanced economics, right? If you look at the blueprint on our site, a key thing for us is to be able to return the revenue that could be generated from partnerships back to Chef NFT owners through game mechanics, right? So
Yeah.
if we take more capital, we can increase the rewards that get given out at the end of battles as prizes.
Makes sense.
Yeah. And then since you have a celebrity chef, is there going to be some component where, like, for example, like cooking classes or something like that, that's just kind of a community give back, or something like maybe where even an in real life discount to certain, specific restaurants or something like that for holders?
Yeah, so the a big thing for us is education, right? We've already done, I think, 2 so far recipes directly from Gino, right? We shot Gino in a real kitchen, cooking these real recipes of Italian dishes and challenging our community to learn from him about how to cook some authentic Italian dishes. And what Gino done was he judged all the entries, and the winner got a bunch of burp and he got a pre-sale spot in our thing. All judged by Gino, right? So
nice.
it was amazing to see the entries. And this is the sort of bridge that we can offer here, right? We have a community based of Web3 people all across the world. And I actually think the winner was somewhere from Asia, right? Who otherwise would never had the opportunity to cook for Gino and have him judge the submission. So education is a big part of what we pay. When we talk about altruism, right? We want to be able to help others around the world, and a key part of that is teaching and educating people on cooking. What's the second question about the? Remind me what the second question was again.
Just like in real life components, maybe like access to certain restaurants, maybe discounts or whatever it might be, just in real life for holders.
We don't currently have anything planned for that. So, I mean, the interesting thing about ours is that there's so many options that we can go down to be able to reward. I would love to be able to provide something like that. I would just think logistically about how it could work, knowing that our audience is so worldwide. But it's something we'll look at. We have, I'm wondering if this is a bit of alpha as well. When we release the merch, we are gonna have it's like those box opening moments, right? So when you buy the merch, you get this box, and within a very few select amount of boxes, there's going to be a golden spoon. So a bit like Willy Wonka, right? Like the golden ticket.
Just say Willy Wonka vibes.
It's the golden spoon, and the golden spoon winners will get flown out to London to have a dinner date with Gino and team members. So
get out of here.
That'd be pretty badass.
Yeah. So these little nuggets, right, of things that we're able to do. Like, we're lucky enough to be able to do this. He has like 3 or 4 restaurants in London, like top class restaurants, and he wants to be able to invite the community and bring them down and show the true value for being a member of his community and playing the game.
Yeah, and what's so cool about this kind of Web3 space is, if you were a traditional, let's say, cooking company, you would have to spend some crazy amount of money for this one-off, and it's just somebody that might see a promo on a website or something. You're actually able to do this to the community that is like been there from the beginning and supports you. It's just a different angle, and it's really cool to see and know. Like you said, there's just a million possibilities that you can go down, and being able to utilize your community even for that future vision as well. It's gonna be a fun ride.
Exactly, man.
That's good. Any plans on collabs with other projects where, like, for example, having their NFTs in the game in the future, anything like that?
Yeah, so we actually have 6 exclusive partners, NFT partnerships with other NFT projects. So each one of them, we've actually designed a custom one-of-one chef for each one of them. So Rumble
nice.
Kong League have got a Rumble Kong chef. We've got more recently, you might know a guy called Bryson, who does like an play to earn. For play and earn streamer. He was quite big in the Axie world, so he runs a gaming guild called Loot Squad, and we've recently partnered with them. They've got a one-of-one chef, and we've got like 4 other famous partners. So that's with what we can offer at the minute, that's what we can do, right? We can offer these one-of-one chefs, super exclusive, super custom. They will form the Genesis 10,000. There's only going to be one of them ever, and within the first 10,000. But interoperability is a key proponent in what we want to build. So when we have the game out and release, we want to open the doors to other projects to be able to play within our game and have them accurately represented within game. If you have a cool cat, we want to be able to allow that cool cat to be ported and connected in and run as a cool cat chef and work within our game. So that's true Web3 for me, is that interoperability between projects. So most definitely it's on our roadmap.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Go
You
ahead.
have a Mikey G NFT and a Matty Mintz chef.
As I was about to
Just,
say, man, I got some
saying.
distinct characteristics that a couple projects have already taken under their wing. Just a thought.
Yeah, just saying.
I would be with the variations we'll have on our human chefs. I'll be shocked if we can't find a couple that would match you guys.
I think there's one more question, and to people use the term token gated, but to make sure everybody understands it, is the app only accessible to people that own the NFT, or is it going to be open to the public as well?
We're going to have both, so we'll have a free-to-play version and a NFT holder playable one as well. The economics around it haven't been completely finalized, but the idea is that if you're playing with a chef NFT, you will be getting significantly more rewards than you would be if you were just the free-to-play one. But we don't want to close the game to everyone. Right? First and foremost, it has to be an enjoyable game, right? I don't want to close the gate,
Right.
but as a business and as a community, and to incentivize people to buy more chef NFTs, of course, they should be rewarded better than just the free-to-play.
Sure.
Yeah, I would hope the community will want you to make it open to keep their NFT worth anything.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Awesome. Do we have any other final questions here? Any other, and if we don't, any other kind of final thoughts for the community about your project or anything we talked about, Chef?
Yeah, I mean, look, if you guys aren't already in our Discord, please check us out. We're super active. Mint dates, as it stands at the minute, pre-sales will be done on June the 7th. So, yeah, been lucky enough to work with Midlife Crisis to give them a bunch of spots, and I'm sure they'll be sharing those with the community. We have a bunch more information on our website, right? If you just head over to bigtownchef.com, we got a really fun lore that we've written up, the blueprint at the very top, which really goes into detail about our mission statement and what we're going to be delivering. You'll be able to see all our partners, all our investors, the team, bunch of stuff on there. But yeah, look, if you join in our Discord, definitely give me a shout in there. I'll try. It's quite late here in the UK. I'll try and jump on Discord for a little bit to see if anyone pops in. But if you do pop your head in, just give me a shout out.
Yeah, I knew it was late. That's why I was gonna try to start wrapping it up here. And it's been an awesome conversation. Kind of last question we always ask or talk about is, how do you think it went? How was your experience? And do you have any questions for us?
This is, look, by far the best AMA and opportunities I've had on there. Nothing's come close. So I wish more companies done stuff like this. I love the ability to feel a lot more personable and relatable to the community, right? A lot of the time you get on these AMAs, it feels like they're just reading off question after question that they've pre-written, and in the middle they just go, yeah, that's good, and then they just move on to the next one without any real care and attention about what you've actually said. Right. You could say anything and they would just say, yeah, that's a really good point, and then move on to it. But I felt, this has been amazing. I've really enjoyed speaking to you guys, and I hope you've enjoyed speaking to me as much as I've enjoyed speaking to you.
For sure. Maddie, I'll let you close it out with your comments.
Yeah, man, this has been a ton of fun, and I like this because it's different. I already like how you've incorporated just kind of sneaking in on the Twitter feed and things like that, seeing the contest you guys have run and everybody else, putting pictures up of food that they've prepared. I just think it's really cool. I love the game concept of what you're doing. And in terms of a person with your amount of experience in the space, I think it really says volumes about what you guys are putting together. I really loved your advice about what to do in this market because you've been through it. I think a lot of people are really grasping for straws because, as you said, they've never experienced this before. So thank you for sharing some wisdom there because, we're going to make it, right? I mean, at the end of the day, there's ups and there's downs, and you just have to kind of know how to navigate that. So I think it's been really cool to see that you're flexible there, and I'm excited to see what we do here. I would love to get a midlife crisis Discord contest that's food related and have you come in and be a special guest judge on some food stuff that we do.
For sure.
Anytime, man. Anything like that, I'd be more than happy to take part. Most definitely.
Oh, dude, we would have a blast. And yeah, just to follow up, man, from the first time we had our kind of first conversation, I knew that you were the real deal. And now even being able to talk for, what is almost 2.5 hours that felt like 10 minutes, I can firmly say you're at the top of the list of, and we, like I said, we've had some pretty big projects on here of just your background, your history, your mindset, your business acumen, what you've already accomplished. There's no doubt in my mind that this is going to be one of the more successful projects. I just hope the community can understand that now after listening to this conversation. And yeah, dude, what you said about like how you felt about the AMA, it warms my heart because that's what we work really hard to do. And we thought there was big opportunity to kind of change the dynamic of these crappy AMAs, right? So if you want us for anything, I don't know, we can do a live reveal show. We're here for you, buddy. So I look at this as just the first conversations of many, and never hesitate to reach out because we're here to help out, man.
I appreciate that. Look, I mean, it's your ambition and your drive to really do this and make this work is obvious, right? You can tell the crap AMAs from the good AMAs, and you're easily the best AMA I've been on, right? There's I don't even think I've ever I think often by the 40th minute I probably wanted to tap out and do something else, but I could easily stay on this call for another hour or two, you guys, no problem at all. But really enjoyed it. I know you guys would be a huge success on your side as well. And anything we can do to help you guys equally, man, please reach out. I'm more than happy to help.
For sure, man. Yeah, I'll probably follow up with maybe some contacts you have just so we can continue getting awesome people on this show.
Amazing. Guys, appreciate it. It's been amazing. Thank you very much.
Yeah, get some sleep and wake up and kick another day's ass.
Appreciate it, guys. Cheers.
All right. See ya.
Bye-bye.
That was one of my more fonder conversations on this stream. A lot of really good info there, man. How did everybody feel about it? What did you think, Maddie?
Dude, great conversation, man. What a flow. I mean, and people were saying that in chat the whole time, just how this is it flowed very well. The vibes were good. I think this is it was one of the easier AMAs we've ever had to do, for sure.
Yeah.
It was a fun show to do.
Dude, and I mean, it helps when you're talking to someone that has, just such like-minded, resonates really well with your mindset, and knowing, which is cool that we talk about a lot, is that mindset comes from a super successful person, right? I mean, this dude minted 34 punks. Are you kidding me? Like, that's insane.
By the way, it's one thing when somebody says I minted 34 punks, but I got them at like 0.00001, whatever.
Yeah.
He spent $1 million.
Dude dropped a mill.
That says something, and so yeah, for sure. And on top of that, to add that credibility, to hear that he's been in hundreds of AMAs, and then to hear that this AMA is one of his favorites, and how we're doing that, really, like you said, it validates that what we're doing here at Midlife Crisis, folks, is a good thing, right? We say we want to bring that human element out, and that's what we're committed to doing. And it was a great validation to hear someone recognize that and feel that way, right? Because at the end of the day, that's what we want. We don't want to come across as some disingenuous, hey, we're just hacks asking questions. We want people, to know that this is something we care about. We care about them. We care about people, and moving us all forward. And I think that was something that was conveyed.
Yeah, for sure. And we have one little more surprise for you all. Our highly esteemed Mr. Ray, aka God, made he is a multifaceted, talented human being. He's our Discord dude. He's our head mod. He's a Twitch mod. And he's also our head creative director. And now that we've got some expertise on board that is going to help us blow out our socials, we're really going to start hitting YouTube hard. Twitch came out with a bunch of shitty new rules that they're going to be taking money away from people like us. and they're getting rid of the exclusivity clause. So people probably didn't know, but Twitch had a clause that we couldn't share our content on other platforms 24 hours after our stream. But if you notice now, we're multi-streaming, so you can watch us on YouTube or Twitch, whatever platform you choose. And with that, we're really going to start hammering down on YouTube because we do think it's the key to our future. We started on Twitch, we'll continue on Twitch, but we will be promoting YouTube as well. And with that, we're launching our YouTube channel with kind of a little promo. We're going to be doing some pre-sale spots for money bags. So we got some more money bags for you to hopefully fill your money bags. So every one of our team members, me, Maddie, God, 2D, Britt, Stargirl, look out for all of the core team members, and you'll see a giveaway on each one of their Twitters. We'll also be doing giveaway in our Discord and promoting all of the fun content that we've actually had on this show that we're going to be able to repurpose for YouTube. And God put a little ditty together from our past Phantom broadcast. So I want to share this with you all. And that's how we're going to end the show. Before I share this, Maddie, any other final closing comments? Because I'm going to show this clip and we'll end the stream and then look out for these giveaways. I'm sure that No,
I think it's good. Let's see it.
All right. Well, we love you all, folks. I hope you enjoy this clip because I think it's pretty damn funny, and then we'll end it up. And also, by the way, I don't know, my last kind of tidbit is we've been really busy and I've been doing a very bad job, and there's just been life stuff and other circumstances. You will see me in Discord every day, and you will see Maddie in Discord every day, because we know this thing truly will only succeed if you all feel engaged, taken care of, and have a reason to come back. So we appreciate you all. We will see you in Discord. And with that being said, I am going to share my screen, and I'm going to take all of the other graphical elements away, and we are going to call it a day. We will be back Sunday for the chill stream. Get excited. We'll see you later, folks. I'm sure that there's probably not a majority, but a large percentage of those people that if they met in real life under normal circumstances, they would fucking hate each other. Let's be honest. They'd be like, oh, you believe in what? And they'd be like, fuck you. And now it's just this magical moment. And that's so special, you know?
So what you're saying is the real NFTs were the friends we made along the way.
Oh.